Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here. Friday, July 25th, the third of 3 consecutive days of practice for the Jaguars to start training camp. The Jaguars do have tomorrow off. They'll get back on the field Sunday, and then next week you'll start to see some pads, which will be fun to see some more contact, more physicality. But it's already been high energy. I think you've had a good 3 days of practice. There definitely was a defining vibe of this practice, and honestly, to me, it was Travis Hunter being on the defensive side of the ball, right? Today he was in the white jersey, and he in team drills was doing defense and periods where the DBs were position drilling. He was on the defense. He was with the DBs, the cornerbacks. During special teams periods, he was still with the offense, which the first 2 days when he was with the offense, primarily wearing the teal jersey, he would be with the defense during those special teams periods. So you're just kind of flip-flopping back and forth at this point. At some point, according to Liam Cohen, in the first 6 practices, they will have a day where he does both sides of the ball, and then they're going to eventually, that's going to be the norm, where he's going to do both sides of the ball during team in most practices at some point moving forward here. But right now they're kind of giving him a slow ramp up, and he talked about that after practice. They're trying to be able to get him to understand everything from the classroom, take it to the field on both sides of the ball. And he did say that's the most challenging part of this thing right now. It's not the physical nature of it, but it's or getting out on the field and being able to make plays. It's understanding all the terminology, all the language. If an offense does something when I'm on defense, how do I respond to that? Vice versa. So there's just a lot that goes into it, but it's nothing he hasn't done before. And so he feels very confident. And again, he was on the defensive side of the ball. I didn't think that he had a massive presence on the defensive side of the ball today. He was by no means playing poorly or anything like that. But really what I noticed more was that the offense felt like they were missing something, and they were missing something. They were missing the second overall pick, the best player in the draft, my number 1 wide receiver in the draft, one of the most talented receivers that I've seen in a while come out of the draft, right? And he had been firing on all cylinders the first 2 days of training camp on offense. He had been playing really, really well, and I honestly do think that the offense missed him today. I think they did. We'll get into a couple drills I saw that were interesting. Saw a shallow cross drill, which, shallow cross mesh type of routes are something that were heavily utilized by the Jaguars in 2022. They kind of disappeared a lot over the last couple years. They weren't run nearly as much. That's a bread and butter play across football. It can work against man or zone. So something that was cool to see, shallow cross being emphasized there. You saw DBs punching the ball out, and you've seen defensive backs, linebackers, everybody trying to get the ball out in drills. And that has actually carried over to the practice field during team. The one legitimate punch out, I would say, and you can debate, but there was one legit punch out where DeJuan Smoot got a strip sack. And that was really nice. And that wasn't against Trevor Lawrence. That was against one of the backups, Nick Mullins. He strip sacked Nick Mullins. It was a muddy pocket. Smoot got in there and got the ball out. That was really nice to see. You also saw Jack Kaiser chase down Chandler Brayboy. And that was one of those ones where it's so late in a practice rep. It feels like the runner had already let up, the play was over. But Jack Kaiser, credit to him, went down and punched the ball out. That same thing happened with ETN, and I can't remember who punched it out, but somebody can let y'all know in the comment section. But again, it felt like the play was over type of deal. So good to see that effort, that hustle, but the one really good one was the Smoot one, in my opinion. So injury-wise, Mason Smith, Dennis Gardeck, both still working to the side. They're both still on the pup. You're not seeing Eric Armstead much in team drills at all, and that's not due to injury. That's Liam Cohen clarified today that they're just giving him a veteran ramp up to start training camp. A lot of veterans don't really love being at training camp. They don't need to have all the work that some of the younger guys do early on, and so they're just kind of ramping him up, giving him a veteran ramp up into training camp. No injury to be concerned with there. Not seeing Buster Brown right now either. He'll be day to day. A lot of Jarian Jones, who did make some plays. BT Brian Thomas Jr. He had I don't even know if you want to say it's a minor tweak, but there was a rep where he stepped on somebody else's ankle, a defender's ankle, when he was running across the field. He went down. He was on the ground for a second. He wasn't wincing in pain or anything like that. It just took him a minute to get up. And then he was kind of gingerly walking off the field. But Liam Cohen said he's fine. Patrick McCarry had a little back spasm, but Liam Cohen said he's fine as well. Johnny Munt is day to day. A couple other interesting things that I thought Liam Cohen had to say, talking about Eli Pankall and Joshua Cephas, two guys that are really going to be fighting for the back of the roster at wide receiver. Both those guys got to be good on special teams. Pankall, he caught 2 touchdown passes today, which was really impressive in red zone work. This was the first day where you saw a lot of red zone work. And so he was able to capitalize on that. Liam Cohen said he likes the energy he brings. He's coachable. He wants it. He's doing good on special teams. What he wants to see from him is being able to be more fluid within the position and flexible within the position, which is fair because, Pankall is a big rocked up guy. So I understand what Liam Cohen's talking about there. He's very strong, muscular, dense. So being able to play with more fluidity, I think I can definitely understand what Liam Cohen's saying there. And then Joshua Cephas, he said that Liam Cohen did that he's liked a lot of the plays he's made, and he has made some nice plays, particularly on the first 2 days of camp. But he said that he needs to get in shape. Did not mince words there. Said he needs to get in shape. So that is one player who has made plays, but they're not going to hold back on saying, what needs to happen with certain guys if they're asked about them. Joshua Cephas, they think, needs to be in better shape. Cohen also commented on not being able to make plays in the air today. And that was, again, it felt like something was missing on offense. One of those things was Ryan Thomas Jr. not being able to make plays in the air. The other one was Travis Hunter not being there to provide energy, to provide playmaking, because he had done that. Travis Hunter had been such a good playmaker the first 2 days of camp. Things get tightened, they get condensed down in the red zone, and you saw a lot of that. It's not like Brian Thomas Jr. didn't make any plays today, but the vast majority of the opportunities that he had to make a play, the ball was in his hands, was not completed. Would they all have been considered drops? Probably not, because they were contested. They were tight window. They were bang, bang. But each one of them, I think you saw that were not converted. Thomas Jr. had a chance to convert them, and he was visibly upset, point blank period. After one rep against Christian Braswell in the end zone, he punched the wall. He was mad. He felt like he did not play well enough today. There's no question about that. Is that concerning? No, not at all. It's Brian Thomas Jr. We know how well he can play and how good he is physically from a skill set standpoint. He's going to be just fine. But this was a day he'd like to move on from. There's no question about it. Getting into some notes from team portion of practice, Anton Harrison had a false start to start things off. That should give you some indications about different things, storylines, right? Nice run by Tank Bigsby early on in practice. Good interior blocking there, and he kind of felt where the gap was and was able to make the right cuts. I do think I made a note early on, the way Travis Hunter moves and reacts, it feels like he's seeing things sometimes in slow motion, which is really good. I just think he's very gifted on that side of the ball with his eyes. Tootin had a really strong run, another one where there was good interior run blocking. You are missing Mason Smith and Eric Armstead right now. Mason Smith on the pup, Eric Armstead just not participating in team yet. So that could be a big reason why you're seeing maybe not the best interior run defense consistently. They do a good job too. Again, offense and defense have been really trading punches in the run game. Austin Trammell had a nice day, caught a short one early from Nick Mullins. Trenton Irwin was blocking for him. So again, read between the lines there. Mullins had a nice touch short throw completion to Bigsby that would have been an explosive play for sure. When you talk about touch on a short pass, again, there's another indicator there. Eric Murray blew up a short pass in a big way, and the very next play, Foye Oluokun did the same thing next time that they threw the ball. So that was cool to see those guys getting downhill, making big plays. And Foye continues to be a playmaker against the run. Saw him getting in there a lot. Travis Etienne had a nice couple runs today. Austin Trammell had another catch over the middle. Wyatt Milam, along with Anton Harrison, also had a false start. So there was 2 false starts today. You want to get rid of those for sure. Dorian Singer, he skied for a pass that was high and out of bounds, but he was able to catch it. But McPherson, who is a guy we've talked about who's made plays out there, he was able to be there and make sure that Dorian Singer could not get his feet down in bounds. So good effort from Dorian Singer. Skied for a pass, made the catch, but McPherson, the ball was placed a little bit too far out of bounds, and McPherson was there to make sure that he could not get his feet down. So that was good to see from McPherson, and good effort by Dorian Singer as well, who I do think is a playmaker. Red zone work, which is always exciting, always hotly contested. Ventrell Miller got Austin Trammell on a really good forced incompletion. It was like Trammell ran into a brick wall there a little bit. Trenton Irwin had a catch that was not a touchdown. Later on, he did get a touchdown grab. My guy Patrick Herbert was able to haul in a touchdown grab, which was cool to see because he's Justin Herbert's little brother, somebody who's been through a lot throughout his football career. In college, dealt with a lot of injuries early on, but he's played really well the last couple years. I think he's somebody who has a future in the NFL. So good to see that from him. Trenton Irwin, red zone touchdown grab from Mullins. Eli Pankall, as I mentioned, he got a couple touchdowns in red zone work, so that was really good to see from him. One player I haven't mentioned that was really playing at an extremely high level today and has played at an extremely high level throughout practice, Tyson Campbell. He tremendously got the better of Brian Thomas Jr. today. He wasn't the only DB who had nice plays against BT, but they got matched up a lot. Trevor was trying to force feed Brian Thomas Jr. I felt like he just wanted to get that monkey off of Brian Thomas Jr.'s back, so to speak. But Tyson Campbell had a PBU, had another strong run from Bashal Tootin with good blocking later on. Tootin also had a good catch and run. Running backs coach was, dapping him up, excited about that. Brayboy, as I mentioned, had that nice catch and run where Kaiser punched it out late. Is the play over? It's practice? I don't know. And then Irwin, he had a really nice grab on the sideline, toe tapping in a tight window. So that was cool to see from him as well. Now, as I mentioned, Tyson Campbell, lights out today. Brian Thomas Jr. struggled a little bit today. Now we'll get into Trevor Lawrence, and as we've been doing every day, we're tracking his entire practice throwing the football. His first throw was an errant throw under pressure intended for Brian Thomas Jr. Second drop back was a well-covered play. He scrambled, probably would have picked up a few yards. Jamar Muhammad was coming down to try to make the tackle. I don't know if Muhammad's big enough to bring down Trevor Lawrence. It would have been interesting to see in a real game, but we'll never know how that would have ended up. His next throw, he got to 1 of 2, completed it short to Tootin. Murray blew that play up, as I mentioned earlier. Next throw, 2 of 3, complete short to Bashal Tootin again. Foye came and blew that play up. Then we get into our red zone work, and he misses a throw intended for BT. Tyson got that pass breakup. He gets to 3 of 5 on the very next play, an intermediate touchdown pass to Brian Thomas Jr. So as I mentioned, it wasn't like Brian Thomas Jr. didn't do anything today with his targets, but certainly not the type of performance you generally expect from him. 3 of 6. Tyson Campbell got a PBU on that play. On the next play, Trevor Lawrence gets to 4 of 7 on the day. He had a touchdown to Hunter Long, who I think is definitely slated in as one of those tight ends that's going to make this roster. Good blocker who also has some athleticism and skill and length. On the next play, he threw a contested touchdown pass to Parker Washington to get to 5 of 8. On the next play, Jarian Jones had tight coverage on BT, but he kind of blanketed him a little bit too much, got called for defensive pass interference. So that does not count as a attempt, but that's the type of play where you're picking up a first down on the goal line, and obviously a good play for the offense there. Anytime you're able to get pass interference in the end zone or at all in general. So another play where like BT didn't make a play there, but it was a good positive play for the offense, right? Next play intended for Brian Thomas Jr. in the end zone, threw it back shoulder in tight coverage from Jarian Jones. Wouldn't call it a drop, but he probably catches that more often than not. And he did get both hands on it. So 5 of 9 for Trevor Lawrence there. 5 of 10 probably would have been a sack. I had Josh Hines-Allen and Devon Hamilton getting pressure on this one. It was just not really close to anyone. BT was the closest, Brian Thomas Jr., but it fell harmlessly to the ground. It was kind of thrown into no man's land, it looked like. Wouldn't have been grounding because I do think BT was close enough. But next play was one of the ones I mentioned earlier. Christian Braswell locked up Brian Thomas Jr. in the red zone. I think Thomas Jr. should have hauled it in. Again, he punched the wall after that one. He was not happy. Next play, he threw a touchdown pass to Parker Washington to get to 6 of 12. The next play, he threw a touchdown pass to Travis Etienne to get to 7 of 13. Next play, intended for De'Ami Brown, Jordan Lewis, second straight day, making a great PBU, coming downhill, firing towards the football. Really cool to see from Jordan Lewis making all those plays. That was the end of red zone work for Trevor in the offense. Next up was the 2-minute drills. Completed a short pass to Tank Bigsby. Completed another short pass to Tank Bigsby to get to 9 of 16. He had another scramble. May have been sacked by number 97, who actually do not remember who that is right now. So we're going to pull up the roster. I apologize about that. Meant to look that one up. It's a young guy. Number 97 is Kiwi Rose from Arkansas. So 6'3", 314-pound rookie undrafted free agent. He was able to make a nice play there. Good for him. I'm not sure that he would have been able to get Trevor, and if he didn't, Trevor definitely had a nice run. Was able to complete another pass to Parker Washington to get to 10 of 17. Got to 11 of 18 on a complete pass short to Brenton Strange. Another shot for Brian Thomas Jr. that was not like an easy catch. Lawrence threw it up for him. BT skied for the football. Both hands on it. Didn't come down with it. Is that a drop? I don't know. First interception of Trevor Lawrence's training camp came today on a tipped pass. I couldn't tell that it was tipped. Liam Cohen after practice said it was tipped, but it went straight to Chad Muma. And Muma, good for him, got the interception, was running back with it. Definitely would have had a nice run back on that one. So that was the first interception of camp. Liam Cohen mentioned that there's been too many batted balls, whether that's the linemen not having their hands where they're supposed to be or not finishing, or the quarterback's eyes not helping out. So he's not sure today on how that went, but he'll go back and look at the tape for sure. 11 of 21 tried to hit Brian Thomas again against Tyson. Didn't work out. I actually think that this was back in the red zone. Yeah, it was. And then he had another touchdown to Parker Washington. So that was good to see. Parker, very busy today. So Trevor Lawrence is through 3 days, 30 of 52 with 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 drops. So overall, I don't think that it's really been like a lights out camp for Trevor or negative camp for Trevor so far. I mean, he's in a new offense, working with different receivers. Today, he obviously had a lot of red zone opportunities, but you saw drops early on in camp. Those have kind of cleaned themselves up, I guess. It's really tough to say how many of the plays today would have counted as drops for Brian Thomas Jr. Again, at least 3 of them, he had the ball in his hands. They were contested. They weren't like punched out by the defender necessarily on those 3. I don't know. It's really tough to say. But I'm not worried about Brian Thomas Jr.'s performances so far. I'm not worried about Trevor Lawrence one bit either. I mean, again, I think considering he's in a new offense, working with a lot of new guys, and you also have a defense featuring, Tyson and Jordan Lewis, who have both been playing at a really high level. It's been competitive. I think you want to continue to clean some certain things up, and we've talked about that here. But overall, solid first 3 days of camp, and excited to have a little day off tomorrow and then get back after it on Sunday. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, supporting the content here. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. You can also check out ginjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.